Nexxlegacy.
All right, my good people. This is Nexxlegacy Radio. I am Brandon here, beautiful guest who I just literally just from afar have appreciated her positive vibe, good energy, and just want to talk to her, not just about being an author, but also just about being all that she is as far as a spiritual coach and everything else, motivational speaker, and all those good things. So I want everybody to make sure when you listen to this, make sure you go ahead and get to know this young lady. You can follow her on Instagram. You can do it now, right now, whatever the case may be, at Miss MS_KC with the number 1. Her book is available, Author of Just Me. You can go ahead and go on IG and click on that link and go grab it. And I want to welcome Miss KiKi Chatman to Nexxlegacy Radio. What's going on, girl?
Thank you so much for that introduction. I absolutely appreciate it. And I appreciate you sharing your platform for me to be here. Thank you.
No doubt. I mean, I feel like this. You got stuff that I feel like the world not only should know, but they should actually activate and put in. You know how we always talk about, like, when it comes to certain things with, not just love, you put it into action with any effort. You want to put it into, meaningful action with consistency and things like that too. So listen, I'm truth telling when I say that I've watched you from afar and I've seen your evolution through not just social media, but just in full appreciation with all that you were trying to do with your platform yourself, and just being able just to have an audience that motivated someone like myself to reach out and be like, hey, let me talk to this woman and pick her brain and things like that or whatnot. So this is really it in a nutshell. And I just want to, first off, before I ask you any questions, just tell you that thank you for continuing your journey, being transparent, and trying to use what I feel like is your God-given talent to motivate others, inspire others, do certain things that I feel, as we talk later, is needed in this crazy world we live in. So thank you for that.
Oh, you are so welcome, and I do appreciate it. I definitely appreciate the I love this. I appreciate the fact that you notice. I appreciate the fact that like attracts like. So if it already exists inside of me, that means that it exists inside of you, and you too are sharing that same light. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's always been like
Go ahead.
It's always been like that, no doubt. And it's always been like that because I see your journey, and I'm just going to start with just being an author first. So you have a book, Just Me, which is available. If people go check out my girl, hit her up on IG. You can be able to hit the link on the bottom to tap in and get to know it if you go to MS_KC1. So let's start there. Book.
Yeah, they can also go to www.justmebykiki.com. I am in the process of revamping my website, but they can also purchase the book there. It's also on every single platform: Amazon, Google, Kindle, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Target.com. Anybody can get it. I wrote it back in. Well, I wrote it back in 2002, but I didn't get the opportunity to publish it until 2020. And it has been like definitely a remarkable experience. It was my baby. Right now I am working on part 2, which is It's Not Just Me Anymore. And so I'm halfway through that, and I look forward to finishing the rest so I can get that out there too.
So elaborate on the journey, because I know a lot of authors out there are struggling. When I say struggling, they're struggling with themselves in the sense where, you know what, I wrote this book 10 years ago. I need to get it out, but I'm scared, or I just don't know the navigation how to do it, or there's always those obstacles or whatnot. So what made you decide after? I don't want to say you shelved the book, but you put it away until you found that, you know what, I want to get this out there to the people. What made you decide to just dip your toe in the pool and just, instead of doing that, let me just dive in?
Well, originally I had been writing for like for years. Like I have been writing all my life. And I used to write short stories back when, you know, in junior high, and I always said that I wanted to write a book and I would be a published author. And then so it wasn't until later on my son Kiran was born. We had moved, me and my husband at the time had moved out to Las Vegas, and it was the worst experience I had ever had. Oh, my goodness. And ultimately, the reason why was because I was homesick. And being homesick or whatever, you know, you really, you don't have anybody or anything like that. I had my sister out there, but I really didn't have anyone. And so I wrote. And that was one of the biggest things back in the day. My mother used to always say, well, KiKi, if you can't tell anybody about what's going on, write it down. You know, so she would encourage me to put it in a diary, to put it in a journal and everything else or whatever. But then later on, I started actually writing short stories, and people were like looking forward to it at school, and we would be like trading things off. Well, then later on, after I had my son, I was just sad and I was just depressed, and I definitely believe that postpartum contributed to it or whatever, but I was in this place where I didn't know anybody, and I had this old I think it was a HP. It was either HP or IBM. It was so old. It had a black screen with green letters on it, and I just started typing. And then next thing you know, it turned into something. And so even though my mother had lived out here in California and I was all the way in Vegas or whatever, I would still call her. I'd be like, I wrote another chapter. And she would sit there and she would listen to the chapter the whole time. And then I remember the very last chapter that I had read to her. I think it was, I want to say it was chapter, oh gosh, I got to think about it or whatever. I can't remember. I just remember on one of the chapters where Reese and Raina had got into it, and Reese came to her defense, and I just remember my mother saying, "That's right, Reese, get it. You better back your girl up." She over there fussing on the phone. Okay. And that was the last chapter I had ever read. And she had told me later on, I had put the book down. I was a mom. I was a full-time employee. I was a wife. You know, like life definitely got in the way. I had wound up going back to school. I had another baby. Which was a girl this time. And so I had 3 children, full-time mom, full-time student. And so I really didn't have that time to write. And she used to always say, KiKi, when you going to write? So she was like literally my biggest fan. So anybody who actually buys the book will be able to see that I actually did dedicate the book to her. Okay. She's been gone about 7 years now or whatever, but that was one of the biggest accomplishments. And it wasn't until after she had transitioned I had gotten to a space where I was like, I'm going to finish this book. And I actually did finish it. All I had to do was write the manuscript. And I wrote the manuscript. And then the person that I was with at the time, he actually found information for me to be able to submit it to a publisher to accept it. And after that, everything just kind of hit. And it was wonderful.
And I think sometimes with the journey of an author, and I've talked to a few in my lifetime, it does get laced with real life situations that they got to deal with. I gotta put this backwards right now because I got to deal with what's in front of me. And sometimes some people lose it or forget, or they're like, the motivation may not be what it once was during the heyday of starting those early chapters. So in addition to all your stuff that you just talked about as far as what you went through and your life journey and just, you know, life gets in the way, obviously. So what made you stay with it in terms of, you know what, no matter how many years go by, no matter how many days go by, no matter how many months go by, I'm going to still make sure I get this out there to the people?
Well, ultimately, it's about what resides in you, what exists in you. We all have a certain fire, something that really kind of puts us out there, that ignites us on the inside out. Mine has always been writing. I am a wordsmith. I am literally that person who it's always been fun for me to read. It's always been fun for me to read. It's always been fun for me, and I love English or whatever. I love telling stories. And so I think that for the younger me is just like, don't stop. And one of the people's biggest issues at this point is just constantly overthinking. So if you're always going to let life get in the way, then that means that you're going to always let life pass you by. Right. And so it took for my mother to transition for me to really just kind of think about, what did she do? Because she had many hats. She did so many different things or whatever, but did she ever write the book? She always wanted me to write this book. I'm going to publish this book for us. And and that's really what that was. Now, prior to all of this, one of the things that I had actually thought about was because I saw where our community was going, and I saw as a people how I felt like, as far as Black people are concerned or whatever, how our culture would become dismantled. And my mission has always been to reintroduce the Black woman to the Black man, and then reintroduce the Black woman to herself. Well, how can I do that? I can do that with this book. I've already written it. Okay, so now I have people's attention, and now I'm putting it out there. And so one of my biggest things has always been, be the love and light it is that you choose to receive. That means that whatever energy it is that you put out there is exactly what it is that you're getting back, and that's what's going to come to match you. So with that being said, I want to be able to help and heal as many humans as possible. I definitely emphasize our culture, Black people, but I have people from all different nationalities, all different walks of life who come to find me, who come to have me help them heal, for the advice, for the love, for the comfort, for the sacred space.
Wow. And not only that, I mean, I could feel that energy, and I'm big on that. And I think it can come from a nurturing place if you let it. Because I think a lot of people, when they move through certain journeys, not just being an author, but just life journeys, different things like that too, you got to really kind of reflect, take stock into, not only who I'm going to be for myself, but how's this going to radiate out there to the world where I can be able to make some kind of an impact that somebody can at least be motivated by, or inspired by. You know what? KiKi just got a book out, and she's telling her story, her journey. I need to do that because this was something that I always wanted to do, or whatever the case may be. I feel like it's important to tell your story, your journey, your different things or whatnot, just for that reason, because you're an author today. You're going to inspire somebody tomorrow that's going to be like, yo, I could do this because she did, right?
And that's the goal. That's really my intent, is to be able to help and inspire as many people as possible. I think that, and that makes me happy. Honestly, if something were to happen today and I were to transition tomorrow, I would be content. And I would be content because I recognize that every single thing it is that I have set forth and that I have put my mind to, that it has actually come into fruition, whether that was good or bad or anything else. And I think that, my life has ultimately been fulfilling. And I can appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. So I think that if I were talking to my younger self, or if I was talking to anybody who was on the same path as me, I would just say, don't stop. And at the end of the day, nobody's coming to publish this book for you. Nobody's going to sing that song for you. Nobody's going to write that song for you. Nobody's coming to save you. You have to be able to willingly put yourself in alignment to be able to save yourself. So you already know that they're going to drag you if you get all jacked up. And they also going to drag you and they're going to drag you even if you make it and you succeed or whatever. So who are you doing this for? And then understand that everything doesn't have to be a fight.
No doubt. But it could be a long road sometimes too, right, KiKi? Like, you get situations where you're like, as much as you're trying to push your agenda out there because you want to use this platform or a specific thing that you do to help people, right? And sometimes you might get them in, you might corral a certain group of people, but then they might splinter off, and it may leave you in certain situations by yourself. But you still don't give up. You don't give up what you are put on the earth.
And well, inside of that situation right there, you have to know that is, you are in your best company. Now you can focus, because the only thing that you need to be able to focus on is you. And a lot of times or whatever, the divine spirit, and as other people will say, God, whoever it is that you would like to call the divine spirit, will place you in a space of solitude just to be able to keep you still. It's important for you to be still. So whether you are praying, whether you're meditating, clearing your mind, cleansing your spirit or whatever, it is required for you to be still. Why? Because you need to be able to receive those messages from the divine, your higher self, to be able to understand what your next move is. So the answers are already residing in you. And when you stop overthinking and you actually understand who it is that we are as these spiritual people, or spiritual beings or whatever in here to perform a physical task in this realm, life gets so much better. It really does, because you have a true understanding that the spirit never dies. It never dies. Only the body does.
Right.
And being able to do that or whatever, I think that, it's very important as an individual or whatever to nurture your spirit, to love your spirit, and to enhance your spirit in your very own way as you see fit. Because that is the only thing that is going to bring you true, authentic happiness.
That's it. Tell that truth.
Happiness is not going to come from an outside entity.
Yeah, amen to that.
Sorry, go ahead.
KiKi Chatman is my guest. KiKi Chatman is my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio. Make sure you hit her up on Instagram, _KC1. Go grab that book, Author Extraordinaire, author of Just Me. You can go to justmekiki.com in order to grab it as well. And just to put a capper on this, you have a second book coming out. Have you found it easy to or that you're working on? Have you found it easier to get this done the second time around as opposed to the first?
No. Let me tell you something. It's nothing for me to write something. Look, but in 15 minutes, I could absolutely give you the most beautiful excerpt of whatever it is. I could talk to you about food, and I could talk to you about love. I could talk to you about anything. But what it is the time. So I have a business now, and in my business, it's KiKi Chatman LLC, but I have a business now, and she's considered Key Essence. And Key Essence is a spiritual coach. She is a medium and a light worker. So I do a lot of energy healing. I do a lot of readings. I am bringing people together as a collective, mostly women at this point, for My Sister's Keeper, which is a sister circle that is conducted every Tuesday at 12:30 and 6:15 Pacific Standard Time. And that is via Zoom. But it's really bringing women together as a collective. It's really providing healing and understanding of oneself, and really teaching people to be selfish and really just hone in the love it is that you have for yourself, and understand that you are love. Nobody can take that away from you. If you are capable of loving someone else, that means that you are lovable. If you are capable of receiving love, then that means love exists inside of you. So if somebody decided to walk away from you tomorrow, they're just choosing not to accept your love, but that doesn't mean that your love no longer exists. It might hurt a little bit, but that's just it. But it's really bringing people back to oneself, to know who it is that they truly are, and then really being able to help them on their spiritual journey as far as wherever it is they decide to go. And I'm excited about it.
Yeah, you telling the truth. Listen, what you're doing for the women is super important. The men need to take notes and listen, or watch, or just be proactive. And how a lot of
I got my hands on them. You gonna be invited?
Hey, all right, hold me to it.
Seriously, no, I'm so serious, because I got my sister's keeper, but I have so many men that have come out now, and they're just like, I want to see it, and all these other things. Yeah. And when I talk to them individually, they want to be a part of it. So I think that I can call it my brother's keeper, But I think
Yeah.
that title may have already been taken. But I'm going to keep as many brothers and sisters as I possibly can, because
Amen.
I am serving
Amen.
this purpose, and it is really important to me in order to be able to get that message out, however it is that I can.
I think what you're doing is commendable, that you are taking pieces of yourself and helping others, find their true self. You mentioned something about selfish, and I feel like a lot of us need to include that. It's not just a negative term. You have to have self-confidence. So that means you have to have certain things that you need and want from yourself in order to be your best self. So if you want to call that selfish, cool. But a lot of people look at it in terms of, look, it's important for me to be confident in myself, because if I'm not going to be good for nobody. I'm not going to be able to get my best self out there for the people, so they could be able to, at least see where my energy is coming from, and at least try to see what's up, just so we could be motivated together. And I think it's cool because I see a lot, and I struggle, KiKi, as we flip the page on this and talk about just being a spiritual coach and motivational speaker with your LLC, which I think is dope because it's needed. It's needed because we see a lot. We both on social media. We both, are in the Bay, for the most part. And not just that, we both see and have seen so much in our lifetimes, and even before that, just getting game. It's different. It's different out here. People talk different. People walk different. People have different agendas, be it if it's good or bad. So it's crazy out here, to the point where we need some guidance or just a reflection to be like, look, don't be overconfident. Be humble in your journey, but also make sure that you take care of you when it's all said and done. And as a motivational speaker, spiritual coach, that's pretty much how you guide it too, right?
Yeah, for the most part or whatever. But it took for me to take a step back and do my shadow work in order to truly be and really walk that path. And people think that healing looks like nice, beautiful unicorns and birdies and flowers and a rainbow.
Yeah.
And it really looks like Chris Rock from New Jack City when he was playing Pookie, talking about the crack was calling him. That is what doing the shadow work and healing looks like. But you have to keep your eye and you have to keep your mind on the goal. It's not about other people and the other things that they have, because as you already know, as individuals, whether we have children or not, whether we have spouses or not, whether we have family, friends, everyone has their own path.
Right.
So the things it is that you feel like, that you have to have, others, we don't see an importance in it until there's a need. So we don't get to this space or whatever of having this need until we have absolutely hit the bottom of the rabbit hole. The bottom of the rabbit hole is feeling depleted, feeling lost, feelings of wanting to die, feelings of being lonely or not having anyone, or feelings of this didn't work, so I don't want to live anymore.
Right.
But you didn't die, and you don't have a choice but to live. So now that you have gotten to this space of people pleasing, and it still didn't please all the people that you want to please, you've gotten to this space or whatever where you feel like it failed, but it didn't. It still served its purpose. It wasn't supposed to be here forever, whether it was a person, place, or thing. And just really acknowledging the purpose, the lesson, and then being able to move forward. Now you have a blank canvas. What is it that you want to draw? What do you want this picture to look like? Because this could be anything it is that you want to, or it could stay blank because you chose for it to stay blank. But it's your canvas, which means that you're the one that's responsible for it. So being able to have that true understanding, and understanding also that if something is inside of you and you could see it and you could taste it, you could imagine yourself there, and all the things that go along with it. If it's something, especially if it's something that makes your heart smile, that is absolutely meant for you. Yeah. That is absolutely meant for you. You're not thinking it for no reason. People who want to go back to school, people who want to write that book, people who want to go out into the industry to produce, to create their own artwork, to do whatever it is that they decide to do or whatever. There's a purpose. There's a purpose for a CEO the same way that there's a purpose for a janitor.
Amen.
Understand that everybody has a place. There's a receptionist. There's an analyst. There's a quality assurance person. Look, there's a KiKi and there's a child. Come on now. So there's a purpose for anything, and understanding that you are here and you are breathing this breath. This is you. You're meant to be here. So while you're breathing, breathe in fresh air. Be happy.
That's right.
And if you feel like you need to cry, let those be tears of cleansing yourself. But there's nothing wrong with you. You matter, and you are loved.
Amen. Amen. KiKi, what's been a good eye opener for you so far with being a spiritual coach and a motivational speaker? What are some of the, I guess you could say, what are some of the topics that, has been a front burner, be it if it's relationships or trying to obtain business partnerships or, just trying to be a better mom or whatnot to the kids or whatnot? What's been some of the real core things that you've been trying to tackle as a motivational speaker and spiritual coach?
Well, not necessarily trying to, or if I do tackle them, I tackle it every single time. As you already know, it's definitely self-love, but it's validation. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times or whatever, and we talk about, you just said it before or whatever, about selfish, like being selfish or whatever doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. It all depends on how you look at it. That means that you don't necessarily have to be ugly. It just depends on how you look at it, right? Yeah. So it is really validation. So one of the good topics, and that was one of the things that the ladies had said that they had not experienced before. You want your husband to validate you, or your partner to validate you. You want your family to validate you. You want your children not to be selfish and validate you, but you are an enabler, and you haven't taught them to validate you. You haven't taught them to do that. So taking a step back, why not? Well, because you don't validate yourself. You are constantly fixing, pleasing, doing everything for everybody else or whatever. You're putting yourself on the back burner, and about time you are able to actually hone in and probably do something for yourself. You're tired. You need to sleep.
Right.
You're tired. You're sick. You're made to sit down or whatever. Sometimes people get sick only because that's the divine spirit's way of sitting them down to keep them still, just for them to be able to focus on what's most important, which is themselves. Every single time that we are outside and we are looking for love and everything else, and we desire this love, I just want somebody to love me the way it is that I would love them, and all of the good, sweet, nectarish things that go along with that. The divine spirit will work with you and bring you back to self, always putting you into yourself, making you go on the inside to reflect. When you get there and you start crying, that means that you have work to do. When you get there and you get to a feeling of loneliness and being by yourself or feeling crappy or something like that, that means that there's things it is that you need to cleanse out. You need to cleanse that out or whatever and be able to get that out of there, because you should be in the space of being able to enjoy your own company. Why is anybody else going to come and sit at this table with you and you can't even sit with yourself?
Amen. Amen.
So understanding that your children were never molded that way or whatever. Your children were you're a mom, so you're tailoring them to take care of them, to do for them, and now they're leeches. Now they're just taking, but they can't do anything for you. Well, you've never taught them to do that. So now you have to set the tone, start doing things for yourself. Make the decision for yourself. Stop doing and make yourself the resource. Provide resources for these people, but not physically doing, because now they're capable of doing it for themselves. That has been one of the biggest things. And then so when they talk about being selfish and they're just like, well, validation, oh, you need validation, that means you clingy and everything. No, we all need validation. That means that if I were to walk into a room with this person and this person decides that they're not going to talk to me, they're not going to say hi, and I just felt like that was extremely rude. Well, why not speak to me? We know each other, right? Well, I just wanted them to validate me. I wanted them to acknowledge my presence.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's called manners. But understanding that we can't obtain a victim mentality. We can't talk about this woe is me. Like prior to being anybody's mom, being anybody's wife, being anybody's anything or whatever, you were still you as your individual self. The same way for a man, prior to being anybody's husband, anybody's father, anybody's friend, you were still Charles.
That's right.
So being able to recognize those things or whatever, and it starts with me first. nurturing yourself. This is just like if we decide that we're going to get sick or whatever, we have to make ourselves feel better before we go out and expose everybody else to all the icky stuff, right?
Indeed. Indeed.
So when you do this and you start to recondition your mind and you do this on a more mental level, that means that you're doing it on a more spiritual level, which means that you're capable of change. You're capable of change. You're capable of love. You're capable of healthy relationships. You just have to be willing to do the work. And there's so many people that actually want to do the work. They just don't know how because we haven't been exposed to that. Coming from different backgrounds and everything else, you could still have a mom or a dad that is present inside of the home, but they're not fully present. You know, where you feel like, oh, go ahead.
Let me ask you this. KiKi Chatman is my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio. Let me ask you this, because what you said really hits, just because, you know, I kind of search for it myself, not just the ladies, but we all do. We look for some kind of, you know, one of my love languages is affirmation, and I love that energy that is given to me when someone says, you know, I appreciate you, or like you said, hello, or whatever the case may be. And sometimes in parts of our lives, too, that we look for consistency in how you deliver things. You mentioned earlier about, you know what, some people don't know how to get there. There is some people who do get there. They may touch it for a couple days, and then they relapse, and they fall back into old patterns, whatever the case may be. What do you say to those people who and I'm talking about different walks of life. It could be relationships, it could be friendships, it could be partnerships, where it looks good, and you know what, I got the game, I got this, I'm doing great for a few days, but then I stop. What do you say to those people?
Well, just like I said earlier, you're reconditioning your mind. So the thing is that if I'm talking to you about this, and ultimately it's about your inner self. It's your inner talk, our inner talk for ourselves. And yes, I do have a fupa. I do have a kangaroo pouch. I have 3 children, and I carry all my babies. Look, in 1997, I had a whole six-pack, right? And that thing, look, I did traded it in for a kangaroo pouch, and now he is 24 years old. But what I say to that is, this is my kangaroo pouch. This is still mine, whether I like it or not, whether I love it or not, you got to be able to love on it. You have to love it in order to be able to release it. And so loving you and loving those good parts, loving the husband that was the amazing husband who got all the credit for just doing every single thing for his wife and his family, and then loving that horrible husband who said the most meanest, degrading, awful things to push his wife away. You have to love both of them. You have to be able to hold yourself accountable for the good shit and then the bad shit. I'm sorry.
No, you good.
But you know,
I think it's real.
I'm not necessarily sure about the language, but
yeah, but I mean, you can say whatever, it's fine. But you know, I think you hit something, because a lot of people, their attention spans are short. It's got to be good, and you see how life is with certain people and certain relationships. They get divorced because someone's snoring, or they get divorced because someone lost their job, or they get divorced because
they get divorced because they don't like their selves, and they don't like who it is that they're with while they're with this person.
Tell it. Amen.
Right. That's really what that is, or whatever. But it's about your self-talk. So you said it. You were just like, for me, when I'm sitting here with my kangaroo pouch and my grown person out there living his life in the world, I'm loving the kangaroo pouch. That means I'm loving the good stuff. I'm loving the times where I was a horrible mother. I'm loving the horrible mother that I was. I'm loving the amazing mother who stepped all the way up to fight for her children. I'm loving both of those. Do I have regrets? Yeah. Absolutely. Can I do something about it now? No, I can't. But who am I? I am who I am. So when we talk about the things of I am who I am, I'm teaching my people the I ams. And I strongly encourage anybody who hears this right now, talk to me and just tell me the I ams. Who are you as an individual? So my sister, she was the one, when I was going through all my things and I was doing my shadow work, she said, KiKi, you know what? She said, sometimes I wish that you didn't remember everything that you remember because it paralyzes you. You don't really realize how strong you are. You have literally survived everything it is that you've been through all the way up until this point, and you don't even recognize how strong you are. And I'm like, you damn right. Oh my gosh, right? So, so then we talk about how when I see people or whatever, it's from love. Like, I don't have a dog in a fight. So either I love you or I really don't care. And but I always care, but I really don't care. I don't have time for any type of energy or vibration that's not matching mine or whatever it is that I'm seeking. So, but I'm coming to you from a space of love. And what it is that I do is I shed a different type of light of being able to let you know that that hurt little girl who was out there fist fighting for no reason, or that hurt little boy or whatever who was spitting venom toward his friend to break him down or whatever, he needs love too.
Yep.
I'm shedding that light on you or whatever. And at the end of the day, I'm choosing to be this person. I'm choosing to be KiKi. I'm choosing to be me. So the I am, that's how it goes. I am strong. I'm a survivor. I am love. I am light. I am me. And you always, anytime that you're ever doing anything, whether you are taking a spiritual bath or you are meditating, you always do everything in increments of 3. Always doing it in increments of 3 or whatever. So I am strong. I'm a survivor. I am love. I am light. I am me. I am strong. I'm a survivor. I am love. I am light. I am me. So it's not to say that you're not going to have this negative self-talk. It's not going to say that, you know, you're not going to have these bad days or anything else. You are a human. So as a human, you have natural human emotions. It's about being able to get back there to remind you of who the fuck it is that you are, because you have work to do. You have a purpose to serve. And your purpose is to be. There's nothing else that's required. It's just for you to be, just for you to allow yourself to be in this moment, to be exactly who it is that you are, and to be love. You have to be able to love yourself. Once you start to love yourself, that's when others will be able to come. So when we talk about these other people or whatever, where you get it a little messed up and everything else, I was doing good, but I ain't did my IMs in 4 days, but I've been doing good. Girl, get back to them. Every single time you're thinking about these IMs, get right on back to it, because they're right there for you, and you're reminding yourself about who it is that you are. So that self-talk starts to change. It starts to change, and as it starts to change, the vibrations that start to rise inside of your body, those things change too. Now you are encountering different family members. You're encountering different people, and this has created some sort of light. And whether it's a good light or bad light, please understand that this good light, honey, that good light gonna disrupt some demons. And it's supposed to. But then also, somebody is coming to match that light. So understand that the love it is that you seek that resides in you has a light. It's important for you to be able to turn that on. But when you do, everybody's going to be able to see it. Everybody's going to be able to. And then you'll have people, women from all walks of life, to come and try to match that light. There's so many different ones that will come and try to match that light. But there's one in particular whose light matches yours. And it's like putting it's like putting the what do you call it? It's just like putting a cord in a socket, and it fits just right, because that's the love that's meant for you. So you have to be that partner that it is that you ultimately desire. You have to take care of you. So, and I strongly encourage, and this is for men and women or whatever, I encourage people to masturbate to be able to see how it is that you like things sexually. So then when your person finds you, you're able to explain this to them. You're able to ask them for this, and it'll be effortless. And please understand that love does not hurt. People do, but love does not hurt. So we want to be able to exercise these things, and we want to love ourselves from each side, every single corner. We are dotting every single T. Every single I, and crossing every single T. And we are being the best versions of ourselves that we could possibly be. That is all that is required. Nothing more. And so when you are navigating, excuse me?
You have to explore who you are in all facets of who you are, so you can at least work on trying to be consistent with giving that, and not just, enhancing your energy is literally when you start evolving or when you start trying to figure yourself out. It's just you have to practice this stuff every day. You might not have a great day.
Just be consistent. Absolutely.
Yeah. You gotta acknowledge it, even if you slip it though. Like, look, this isn't a good day for me, but you know what I'm saying? I'm still working on what I gotta work on. You know what I mean? KiKi Chatman is my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio, and as much game as you giving and will be given to the universe out there, if people want to hit you up as far as any motivational speaking, you are available. How can they reach you? Website?
Absolutely. Like I said or whatever, I have right now I am revamping. It's under construction, but it's on its way eventually. Me by KiKi.com is definitely where I can be found, but it will also be KiKiChatman.com. Right now I can be found on Facebook as KiKi Chatman, KiKi Chatman with a T. I can also be found on Instagram as Miss MS _ KC1, which is the number 1 on IG, but then also on TikTok, KiKi _ Chatman. I can be found on all different platforms, but I can also be found at Key Essence. So it's key.essence22@gmail.com. If anybody wants to be able to set up a consultation in reference to spiritual coaching to be able to help them heal on their spiritual journey. I can also be found at 510-586-5938. That is my business number. I can be found anywhere. Look me up. Google me. But when one of the things I do want you to, and I love you to pieces or whatever, and this comes from a good place. Stop saying trying. Stop saying trying, because you're doing. You're not trying with this radio interview right now. You're actually doing it. Me and you, we on here right now. We doing it.
Hey,
come on now.
Hey.
So that means something, and that matters, right? We're not watering nothing down or whatever. Even if you don't feel your best or anything else, it's not that you're not trying. You're still doing. You still have things that are in motion, and it's actually happening. Give credit where credit is due. Celebrate the small stuff, so when the big stuff comes, you can celebrate that too. Absolutely.
This journey, KiKi, has been crazy. But one thing I know for sure is that I was built for this. I was put on this earth to do this.
Come on now.
Doing it
Absolutely.
in a way where I can genuinely give back and help enhance and grow. Not just myself.
Congratulations.
I'm learning from other people, learning from people as we grow and evolve. Like, this is an evolution phase. I'm not done evolving. There's still more that I can be able to do and give back and things like that too. But I feel like I was always put on this earth to serve in some capacity, and I feel like what I've done so far has been on high levels, and there's still more for me to do. And it's more that as I'm learning and evolving in life, because you're never too old or too young to learn, there are still certain things that you have to do in order for you to get better, so you can help others get better too. And that's the journey, and I'm sticking to it, and I think it's great. And also for you, as we wrap this up on Nexxlegacy Radio with Miss KiKi Chatman, is that I look at your evolution, and like I said, I think we've been social media buddies for a handful of years now, I believe. And
right.
The fact, true deal. And what I've seen from you is not just, a powerful situation that you've gotten yourself into. What made me reach out was this. I'm proud of you. I needed you to know that. I needed you to feel that, because I see what you were doing, and on top of that, I don't think I've said it enough to you, or I can like a page or whatever it is, or I could give you hearts or whatever it is, but like, true talk is really important to me. And for me to tell you this, that I see you, I appreciate you. I'm going to do this, and you're not even knowing I'm going to do this. Anybody that bought this young lady's book right now, just filter it through Nexxlegacy. We will hook you up with an Amazon gift card with a purchase. We'll go for the first 10 purchases or whatnot. We'll hook you up with an Amazon gift card, because it's what we do. But I'm just so proud of you for evolving, for trying to be better every single day, catching the vibe that I don't have to holler at you every day to see what you do, because I see it. I feel it. You talked about energy being, you know what I'm saying, something that people can see. You can feel it as well. Like you can always get that energy and grab it. And the fact that you're doing what you're doing at high levels is good. Last question. Outside of working on a second book and being the best spiritual coach and motivational speaker that you can, what's next for you?
I think that outside of that is love. It's love, just being the love and the light. Honestly, this is my purpose. This is what it is that I plan to do. I did also think about, I have so many different options as far as where I want to be able to take Just Me. If anybody has already read it, you'll know that at the end of it, Raina has a cliffhanger that leads you up into the next book. And so I thought about putting it inside of a manuscript to actually put it on a platform. There is several different theaters that are out here in the Bay Area that I know for a fact if I wanted to be able to get that together, it could be made into a play. It could be made into a play. It could be made into a movie. And it's really funny because as people have been talking, like after they read it, they're like, oh my gosh, I felt like it was a movie. Like I could see everything. And there's just so many different things. But right now, my focus is Key Essence. It's spiritual coaching. It's writing books on the beach. And it's speaking to as many spirits as possible in this realm and also the other realm.
Love it. I love it. Not only can I see you do it at all kinds of different levels, I can see you, again, enhancing your ability to help others, not just being able to put your journey out there, but also somebody, like I said earlier, somebody's going to be inspired by listening to you today or tomorrow.
I hope
the next
so.
day,
that is the plan. Yes.
and that's the blessing in itself. So as we close, thank you. Thank you for just continuing your journey. Thank you for inspiring me, because you have been for a handful of years. Thank you for just putting your journey out there, exposing your God-given talent and what you were put on this earth to do, and do it at a high level. And we gotta show appreciation, and we gotta do it consistently. So with that being said, you and I are not done. We will talk offline. We will strategize and try to enhance each other as we continue to grow in our respective spots as well. But just keep doing you. Just keep doing you, and just keep, like I said, from a distance, girl, I appreciate you. You doing it. Keep that. I
appreciate you too. Thank you so much for this. I really do appreciate it. And this has been a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I look forward to working with you too.
Nexxlegacy